right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we formally introduce the 15th head coach in the University of Buffalo men's basketball program's history. In a moment, Vice President and Director of Athletics Mark Alnutt will be up here to formally introduce our new head coach, George Halcovage. And after his opening statement, we'll open up the floor for questions. We do have a microphone that Sarah has that we'll pass around, and George will be happy to answer your questions. Once these questions are finished here, we will be able to do some one-on-one interviews right after, behind the stage here. So just see us, and we'll do some one-on-one interviews right down here on the floor. So that's how things will go today. With that, I'd like to introduce Vice President and Director of Athletics, Mark Alnutt.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll tell you what, exciting day to be a Bull. On behalf of our president, Dr. Satish Tripathi, I want to welcome everyone here to this, this historic afternoon, being able to announce our 15th head men's basketball coach, which we're excited about. A few thank yous before I get started is I want to thank our search committee that worked hand in hand with me, spent long hours. Being able to identify our next head coach. So I know they're kind of round, and I kind of see one kind of standing back there in the back, but Nate Wills, our Deputy Athletics Director, COO, Deanne Keller, where's Deanne at? I saw her earlier right there in the back behind Jim Atwood, and Mark Frank, our Faculty Athletic Reps. Obviously had a birth of her grandchild, but still, jumped on Zooms and did everything she had to do back in Indiana. Eric Gross, who's our men's basketball sport administrator, also our deputy athletics director over external. Thanks, Eric, for your role as well. Aaron Stang, is Aaron here? He's right there, looking dapper as always, but he's our senior associate AD, oversees academics, and was very valuable. I owe his wife quite a bit because during part of this, he was on his honeymoon down in Florida, and he had to zoom in. But the great thing about it is when we talk to people, he'd open his shades up and see those palm trees and just tell him he was zooming in from South Buffalo. So I appreciate that, Aaron. And then Brian Hamlick as well. I don't know if he's in here, but he's our vice president back there in the back, who came in, was very helpful, vice president of student life, to be able to sit down with candidates in person. And I appreciate it. And when you go through the search process, obviously, you think about families, more than anything. Families of all these people that I just mentioned in terms of just time being away from home, time, being able to get this right, whether it was a couple of us jumping on an airplane to talk to people or spending late nights here and being away from family. So to everyone who I mentioned, the wives and spouses, very, very valuable. And last but not least, I want to thank my wife up here, Kate, for what she does, and she had a lot going on during this time, and being able to allow us to do what we do, but also too probably the best recruiter in here. When we had a chance to sit down and have dinner with George and Lizzie, and just that instant connection was phenomenal. So Kate, I appreciate you, love you as always. So as we move forward, it was a job that was highly sought after. We'd be proud not just as an athletics department, but as a university, but also a community here in Western New York in terms of just the amount of interest, in this job. And when you start with the list and you sort through that list and you decide who the finalists are going to be and you have conversations, it comes to the point that, wow, here's where we are and here's what we need to do. And a lot of that is just these young men over here to the left. Our student athletes and people knowing about them, knowing what they can do and want to come here to help, further develop them, not just on the basketball court, but also in the classroom and in life. So fellas, I appreciate, you guys hanging in there, with us as we went through this process, and obviously look forward to, the next steps, for you guys. Before I introduce the next head coach, we had certain qualities that we were looking for, someone who was, a proven winner. And it's easy to say a proven winner. That's what we expect to do here at Buffalo. But, someone that's, been associated with the program that has a history and a rich tradition of winning. And someone who was, kind of the ground floor of that, through starting as a graduate assistant at Villanova and just working his way up, to the point of being associate head coach. Talking to various folks, not just at Villanova, but nationally, about George was just outstanding reviews. Overly prepared, ready to take the next step. Attention to detail. Great organizer. The architect was a word that I heard. One coach that is in the Big East said, "Mark, I'm glad you're taking them out of the Big East because I don't have to face them." So, when you hear words like that, it's more than gratifying. But also when you hear more about a detailed plan, a detailed vision of what UB basketball can be all about, and how we can all, when I say we can all embrace this program and be able to help this program as not just a university community, but overall Western New York. It brings just great excitement in terms of being able to hear and be able to understand his vision. It's going to take work, but it's my role and all of our role in here is to be able to support our next head coach. So as we move forward, at the end of the day, it's about our student athletes and about developing them to the best they can be in everything they do. And I'm so excited to announce that we found the next head coach that's going to be able to do that. We found the next head coach that's going to be able to bring pride, back in this program. This is this is the highest level of basketball in Western New York. Okay, and we strive to get there, and we are going to get there, which I'm excited about. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next head basketball coach, and thank you, Lizzie. For hanging in with this journey to Western New York. We look forward to welcoming you, and number three, your first child here in July, which is excited about, a boy that's going to be here before we know it. But so thank you. But I'd like to bring up our 15th head coach here at UB, George Halcovage III.
Real quick, Mark, just one quick thing. Go Bulls, let's go, everybody, let's go. I need to break the ice for myself. I'm very humbled and honored to be here, to be the next head coach at UB. Thank you to Dr. Tripathi, Mark, Kate, Alnutt. You have been, you made Lizzie and I feel like family from the start. When we landed and got in the car and started going to the hotel and then got to dinner, we just looked at each other and said, this is a place for us, this is home. Western New York is home to us already. We look forward to just getting our feet down here now and building it with all of you, with great young men and men that are gonna turn into great players here, but also people and students. We're just so excited to get to work with all you guys. And first and foremost, I wanna thank all of you as well, all the guys that came through on Friday to meet. I'm looking forward to getting to talk to everybody, and then some other guys that are already here. It means a lot, and it speaks to the character of you guys, and we're just ready to get to work and build this back to what we all want it to be. So thank you to the players. As you know, there's no coach that'll ever say they were a good coach without great players, so, all right. Again, just to the Shirts Committee, Mark already mentioned all of your names. You all, again, just welcome myself, Lizzie in, and I knew in every conversation I had as I meet somebody else up here at Buffalo, I knew, wow, this is a special place. This is a place where Lizzie and I can make it home, and that I believe we could do special things on the basketball court. And I come from a place, and I'm so thankful to have had my years at Villanova for 15 years with Coach Jay Wright as my mentor, a father figure. I want to thank him and his wife, Patty, as well, for the opportunity for me to be here today. And to Mark Jackson, Father Peter Donahue at Villanova. You never want to forget where you came from. And I know Buffalo itself as a city and a community is a type of place that takes pride in where you're from That's where I'm from, in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And, I want to represent all of you and this great university in that light. And that everything we do is going to be developing you guys into the best players, students, and men you could be, and that we do special things together. And that's going to be our goal from day one. I'm fired up to build a great staff of men that are going to come in and be on that same mission with myself and Mark to really make you all proud. So when True Blue's out here, we get this place rocking. We get it to where there's, rows of 3 people up there in the rafters in here, just knowing that they're here to see a group of men go out and play together that take great pride in UB basketball. This school has great tradition, and there's so much respect I have for all those who have come before, and to make sure we connect the former players with you guys, with the current players, all the way back to, the 90s, all your old heads, right? Just to make sure that everybody knows that they're always going to be part of this for life, that you're going to forever be a Bull. That's something else that I want to make sure we bring in immediately to infuse a bond of brotherhood, that we truly have a program and that you all here are going to feel part of a special program. It means a lot to me as well, and it's going to mean a lot to our staff that we build. Looking forward to building a dynamic staff to really help me take this to the next level, and I think we're all going to be really excited about that, and we're working at that right now, and we're working on putting together a group of young men that are going to go out together and work really hard and represent all of you. I probably missed some people to thank. Obviously, my parents, my family, my in-laws, and the rest of my family as well. We love all of you. We know you're watching here today, and very proud of myself and Lizzie. And, we just want to come here right now and really, from day one, make you all proud that we want to be a part of a special place and something bigger than ourselves. So thank you very much. Go Bulls. Everybody get your horns up out there. And we look forward to the next steps. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
All right, we'll take some questions now for Coach. If just raise your hand when Sarah has a microphone here, we'll bring it around. Please introduce yourself. Obviously, George is new to the area and needs to get to know the media, so if you can please introduce yourself before the question, we'd appreciate that. Just keep this down.
Hey, one other thing I forgot to say is I have to mention Coach Kyle Neptune at Villanova as well. He's the head coach now at Villanova, and he and I started way back as young bucks in the same video room, and to see him become the head coach of Villanova last year and work with him for a year as a brother was an honor of mine, and even through this process to help me prepare for this, I can't thank him enough. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention Kyle, so thank you as well to Kyle. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I'm learning how to talk into this microphone. So, questions?
Hi, George. Rachel Lindsay from the Buffalo News.
Hi, Rachel.
What are your immediate priorities as head coach at the University of Buffalo?
Immediate priorities are going to be, making sure we have a team that can go out and compete and meet with the current team to see, I want to have an opportunity for everybody to be here because, through doing evaluations and watching film already on the team from last year, and then also getting some background information, there's a lot of great players here that I would love to retain and be a part of this. And then obviously going out and, looking for other guys to bring in. It's, the world of basketball is a new world, right? With the transfer portal and, maybe some 2023 kids that haven't committed yet that are great fits for us. So that's going to be immediate, but to do that, you have to build a great staff. So the first thing I've been doing and working on, and I was down in Houston doing that, was meeting with different people that I had already been thinking about or talking to if this did happen, to build a great dynamic staff that's going to be able to be on that mission with me to get us where we want to go.
And secondly, what is the biggest challenge that you face in your first head coaching job?
My biggest challenge is going to be that I have not gone through it as a head coach for the first time, right? So there's going to be things just like any job I've had, whether I've, and at Villanova, I think I've been prepared that way because I've been a graduate assistant, director of operations, video guy, all the way through assistant coach, associate coach. So going through that progression, I knew each job created some new challenges that you didn't know until you were in that job. So obviously going through things for the first time and experiences for the first time, getting in here, and in this gym and this arena and being in here for the first time coaching, it's gonna be a first, right? And I know that, and I'm okay with that. But that's gonna be the challenge, and then the challenge is gonna be to really build this program the way we envision it as quickly as possible, but doing it the right way. It's gonna take a lot of work, a lot of effort, but I think we're gonna put together a staff and a team that's capable of doing that. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hello, Jonah Bronstein, WIBB News 4. Over the years, before you were interested in this job, before it became open, what was your awareness level of this program, this job, this league, and the success it had over the years? Like, what was your impression down in Philadelphia of Buffalo basketball?
Well, I remember being in the NCAA tournament. Number one, we played here a couple times, right? So for Villanova, we came up here. Ironically, we lost to Wisconsin up here, and then my wife and I met a couple weeks later at the Final Four. She wasn't there for the Final Four, but thank God, so Buffalo holds a special place in my heart. I didn't know it at the time, but no, I think just the impression I had is that this is a place that when it's going is an incredible sports environment. Buffalo itself, I know, is a great sports town. So that's always an attractive thing as a coach to know you're going to be in a place where the fan base is into it. Obviously you guys love your Bills, Sabres. Now it's me. I got to be a part of that. So it's going to be us. We love it, right? I'm excited to be a part of the community. So, and that is a community, but the program itself, like obviously, to be in the MAC and doing the things that UB was doing, not too long ago, being a top 25 team. Going and knocking off teams in the NCAA tournament, and having that sustained success of winning MAC championships. If you're able to do that as a coach, there's a reason why. And a lot of it has to do with the infrastructure behind it as well. So I think that excited me.
And did Kyle Neptune give you any particular insight as to living and working here from his time up the road at Niagara?
Yeah, it's a great question. Coach Joe Mahalik, who he worked for, is another great man, and I actually worked with Joe's son, Joe, as a Villanova graduate assistant, and they're from up here, right? Know their whole family. So, Kyle just said, hey, it's going to be a little colder, right? So just bring another jacket, bring the heavier jacket. That it's a great community of people, and people love basketball here, and they love their sports, and just you're going to feel like home. I think that was the other thing he said, and that people are really into it. People are really into the athletics here and that, into basketball. It's a great, with the Big Four here, it's a great area. Western New York has a great love for basketball and sports, right? So he just said, you're going to love it. He just said, make sure you bring a jacket, right? And obviously I'm going to, but, the thing I always say is people are like, oh, what about, hey, man, the gym's inside. I love when it's cold during basketball season. Bring it. I want people to want to be inside watching us compete.
Hi, Rachel Hotmeyer, Spectrum News 1. As you're going through the interview process with Mark and so many other people on the staff, obviously everybody here knows Buffalo is such a huge sports community. What else sold you about the program? When you're looking at what you're walking into, was there a moment where you said, this is mine to take?
I would have to say Kate and my wife's connection immediately knew that I was going to have a hard time not loving this place, to be honest. But it just felt like home, and I'm a big family guy, and my wife Lizzie and I, that really matters to us. We're having our first child in July, baby boy. We're fired up to have our own little bull, right, and bring him into this. So, but just family was going to be important to me, and that we could build a program or be a part of a program that we knew we could make a family environment. And when I got to spend time with Mark and Kate that night, and then get to meet the search committee, Aaron, Eric, Nate, Deanne, and through the process as well, you just felt it. And when we walked on campus here, started seeing people, and just walking through these halls here, like, thank you so much to everybody here, cheer, band, everybody. It's incredible to have you all here today. You didn't have to do this. I appreciate it, but just walking the hallways as I was walking down here to see some student athletes I'll see every day, and coaches and whatnot. All these texts. Mo called me. Becky Burke texted me. All the other coaches of all the other teams. Just to hear it in their voice as well, how special this place is to them, it made it that much more exciting. So, yeah, it just felt like home, and we want to be a family here and make this that.
Hey, George, Dom Tibbetts, Channel 7 Sports. Welcome to Buffalo. You talked about your relationship with Kyle, but you also got a front row seat to learn the game of basketball from one of the best, Jay Wright. What did you learn from him as a coach? What did he instill in you that you can bring here and replicate the same amount of success that he's obviously had in his storied career?
You know what's ironic? That Coach Wright started his career actually in Rochester, his coaching career. So I think we flipped stories. I went to Villanova first and got a long time there. He started up here in this area, I can't, words can't express everything Coach Wright has meant to me. When I was a young coach, Coach Wright always mentioned to me that he was a young coach kind of coming into the business for Rolly Massimino, national championship coach at Villanova, right? And when he got the Villanova job as a young guy. And he always just said to me, look, you're getting into coaching, there's no job that you got to be above, right? You got to be able to get in there and do every job at the highest level, no matter what it is. Any task, not only on the court, but off the court, and he from every step of the way has been honest with me. He's taught me how to be a legit man. We talked a lot about that at Villanova, and to just take pride in where you're at. And then also, like, obviously, he's an unbelievable coach, unbelievable X's and O's guy, just his ability to see the game, think the game, having to be able to go through that with him and learn the game with him and let him even allow me to gain the confidence to be a coach and elevate myself as time went on, right? But I had to earn everything. And I think that what I learned most from him is that, if you work hard and you earn it, you're going to be ready for anything. And I think that's the path he took. I'm really thankful that's the path that I took to get me here today. And he also taught me how to marry the right woman. Patty Wright is she's awesome. I just love coaching Patty so much and their family, and see how they raise their kids. Taylor, Colin, and Riley. As parents, they emulate what Lizzie and I want to do as a coach, because without a great wife, she's really the MVP of our team. And obviously Mark has that, and Kate too. We already know that. Everybody here already probably knows that. But he just showed me the complete landscape of what it took to be elite the way I want to, because of who he was as a man and as a person.
Hi, George. Ryan Tantello from the Spectrum, the student newspaper. So I kind of have a two-sided question. First of all, how did you know that it was the right time for you to leave Villanova? And did Jay Wright's retirement a couple of years ago have anything to do with that decision for you to move on?
Great question. Thanks, Ryan. You just know you're ready to be a head coach. One, Coach Wright, after, midway through last season, he told me that you're ready to be a head coach. It's time for you. If something great comes up that excites you, that you could see yourself at, that could be great for you and Lizzie, you should look at it. But don't just go take a job to take a job. And that's what excited me so much about being here. That this is a place from the immediate that Lizzie and I said we could make this home, and that we could do something special here together with all these other great people here at Buffalo, right? So I kind of knew I was ready, and when the right opportunity came up, no, coach's retirement didn't impact my want. We all have goals and aspirations. You got players who want to become pros, and as a coach, you want to develop guys to be pros. And you got to balance it out with saying we got to develop each guy, but also make sure we develop the team to do special things together, right? So just as a coach, you have your own aspirations, but you put them aside sometime for the betterment of the team. And so I always evaluated it where I was at in my career. Always had an open dialogue with Coach Wright. Mark Jackson, our athletic director, was a great resource for me. Josh Hurd, another guy who was a close friend, the athletic director at Louisville. Just talking to those guys and them all telling me as well, you're ready. And to know those guys are, part of the big decision makers in that process made me feel confident to do this. But I wasn't just going to go anywhere. And I'm just so blessed to be here at UB.
Hey, Coach. Brandon Kochi, also the Spectrum newspaper. Over the past few weeks, there's been 6 former players from last year that's entered the transfer portal. A lot of them key starters. Since arriving here late last week, has there been any conversation with those players or any communication?
I appreciate the question, and I think out of fairness to all of our guys, we're gonna keep some of that stuff in house for now, because we get it. This is a unique decision for all of them to make, and it's also, you're coming into as a new person into a program, right? So, yes, there's been interaction, and I'm excited to continue that. And I know that we have a lot of great players here and talent here that really fit UB, and I just want them to really fully understand our vision as a program moving forward, and then also understand a little bit about their individual one as well. All right, great. Well, thanks again, everybody. All right, go Bulls. We're fired up to be here. Thank you.
All right, for media interested, if you want to come down to the floor, we'll do some one-on-one interviews with Coach Halcovage right back here behind the stage. So come on right down now, and we can do that. So for everyone else for coming out, thanks for coming out, and